Mr. Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters, honored guest. Dallas Cowboys, America's team. That brought a lot of anguish to many of my friends that were Washington Redskins fans, New York Giants fans, Eagles fans, and basically everybody else in the NFL, because you either loved Dallas or you hated them. But in the 90s, Dallas was dominant. They won 3 Super Bowls in 4 years. They had great success on the field, but they were notorious for off-the-field antics that eventually brought down the dynasty. Jeff Pullman is a writer for ESPN and Sports Illustrated. He has expertise in this story. He interviewed 150 players, coaches, and sports personnel for the team. He also looked up research on police blogs and court documents. He tells a story in third person. He uses names, and if he doesn't use names, you use he or she, no matter. Interesting material. It doesn't have, you don't have to be a sports fan to understand. A lot of it, sports is in between what they did on the field, but a lot of it was what done outside the field. Some of the antics. Let me take you back to April 1989. Dallas. It has often been said that Tom Landry, who was the coach for 29 years, the only coach they had, he was the face of the Dallas Cowboys. And while such sentiment holds true, it does not extend far enough. Tom Landry was the Dallas Cowboys. The face, the mind, the soul. He's born and raised in Texas. He was an icon. But in April of 1989, there was a change of the guard. Let me introduce Jerry Jones, the owner, the new owner of the Dallas Cowboys. He is still the owner of the Dallas Cowboys. He is an obscure Arkansas oil driller with a cachet of loose women and loose business dealings. Jones was fishing in Mexico on September 8th when he opened to page 10 of the Wall Street Journal, and the headline caught his eye. Like many other Texas institutions, the Cowboys haven't found a buyer. Ding! They did now. The only thing bigger than Jerry Jones's wallet was his ego. Jerry Jones was good friends. He was teammates in the 1960s at the University of Arkansas football team with Jimmy Johnson. He wanted Jimmy Johnson to become coach of the Dallas Cowboys. There was one problem. Tom Landry was still the coach. He's such revered. They met at the best Mexican restaurant in Dallas. There was a photographer there from the Dallas Morning News. Took their picture. Since that's to do with the Dallas Cowboys, it was front page news. Then it got back to Tom Landry, who put 2 and 2 together and realized his job might be finished. What was ironic with this Mexican restaurant is the fact that it was Tom Landry's favorite restaurant. Go figure. So it came to that Jerry Jones had to let Tom Landry go. But Tom wasn't in the area. This was the off season. He was playing golf about 500 miles away with his son. That didn't stop Jerry Jones. He flew on his private jet, got to the golf course right at dark, and told Tom Landry, no disrespect, you're out, Jimmy's in. Plain and simple. Imagine being fired just like that. Somebody flying 500 miles to come tell you that you're fired. Jimmy Johnson became the Dallas Cowboys coach. Dallas was in turmoil. He knew he had to upgrade the talent. He knew he had to change the culture. The first thing he did was they were practicing in minicamp tryouts. And the person was getting sick, not feeling well. He said, "Coach, I'm not feeling well. I've got asthma." Jimmy, without a hint, said, "Son, the asthma field's right over there." And he let him go. That was the kind of man he was. It's the kind of culture he had to build up to try to make a winner. Another story about Jimmy Johnson. He was so dedicated to the Dallas Cowboys. He finished running one day. He went up to his wife, Linda Kay. His wife was so devoted to him for over 20 years.